Melanie, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's very nice to see you, Victor, and thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of branding and good design as a wedding vendor. Could you please tell my listeners and the people watching this video a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
Very happy to. My name is Mel or Melanie, and I'm the owner and principal planner at Keepsake Events. It's a wedding planning company and also does events and design work in Vancouver, BC. I consider it kind of a boutique company, and we like to focus on intimate moments and creating that personal space for couples to really celebrate their day.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, recently you went through like a rebranding for your whole brand, like your website, the design, all of that kind of stuff. Did you? And it looks great, by the way. But did you hire a designer and a branding team like when you first started, or did you do everything yourself in the beginning?
So I'll go back to when I first started my company in 2014. It was very different times. I was just looking to build everything and build it a little bit quicker than probably what we're doing right now. But so back then, I did everything myself. I looked at a lot of websites. I tried to pick and choose elements that I really liked and put it together fairly quickly. There's so many great resources for that. Fast forward to today, and actually, it's been a while that I've been wanting to do this, but I just wanted a little bit more professional look, something really cohesive and that reflected where the brand has evolved to. And so I reached out to a few companies that really specialize in brand design and website development, interviewed them, went through consultations, everything. Found one that I really loved, thought I connected with really well, and loved the look. And yeah, went with a professional company on this one.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what made you decide to rebrand the website, your whole business? What made you decide to do that?
I needed something that was a better reflection of the service that I provided. So, again, back when I started, I guess 6, 7 years ago now, it's 2021. It was a little bit different. I was just trying to get out there, get my name out there, and the website was a fairly okay starting point to show the services we provided. Of course, didn't have as many images of weddings because I was just starting. Now have much more large portfolio, but I was also looking for something that was a little bit different, set us apart from all the other wonderful wedding industry professionals in Vancouver and all over, and also had some refinement to it. So for wedding planning and everything, I'm always looking for a great flow to things, cohesiveness, something that's going to lead your eye, direct you to the next area. And I thought with a professional company that would really fit the bill. And it was just time to make a change. So getting that refinement, I think you can also attract the right clients that fit with you and fit your brand. And I think all around doing this with a company and going through all their questions and going through everything with them, it was just a really good soul searching into figuring out what type of weddings I wanted to attract, what kind of clients I wanted to attract, and make sure that we were putting the right information out there to be able to get them.
Wow, yeah, yeah. That's so true. Yeah, by like going through that process, you would have a lot of time to reflect and think about, what you want your business to say and all of that thing through the branding. And that's an important process, I bet.
It was actually really great because they really probe into you a lot more. So there is a difference between who you are and who your brand is. And being able to go through that process, you can really figure out what those differences are. The ideal client, as I always say, who you're trying to attract, how you're able to attract that through the images, through the layouts. We looked at a lot of like other wedding companies, but we also looked outside of that as well. So I love looking at interior design websites. So we're able to pick out little pieces from there and then refine everything from color to layout spreads to content, everything. It was a great experience.
Wow. If you had like if you could go back in time and talk to yourself when you were just starting, would you tell yourself to just hire a designer straight away, or do you think it was good to start, learning all of these things by yourself in the beginning?
I like the experience and the growth, I guess, that I went through. So 2014, very different part of my life. Things have changed quite a bit. So I think for me, it fit the bill. I would suggest for people looking into branding and website design, if they're just starting out, take a look at your plan, your business plan. I found that was a really important part to start out with, and to just see what your goals are. What are your priorities? Where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do with your business? And what that looks like financially as well. Because doing all the branding, all the websites, there's definitely a very large range in which direction you can go into, and it can be quite costly. So it really depends what you want for your business and how you're going to price yourself and what tier you want to be. There's just so many different factors to consider, and then finding the right fit with that brand designer. I know when I was looking, there's like a lot of templates out there as well that look really great. Sometimes you can do a lot of the work yourselves. Sometimes you can buy the template, but also hire that person to, you just send them all your images, send them all your content, and they'll put it into that template. And those are great options too, which are a little bit less costly. So I would think I just think there's so many options out there to explore. And there are different needs to fit each company. So as small businesses, we do have to consider our finances as well. So it kind of depends what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely, yeah. Um, as you in your time as a wedding planner, so what is the most important thing you've learned, like in terms of design? Like, what makes a good website? What makes a bad website?
Um, I like something that can direct your eye. So as you go onto a website, is the navigation going to be easy? Can you figure out how to contact people quite easily? Sometimes I'm kind of searching and wondering, like, where am I supposed to click next? Where is my eye drawn to? So I really like a website that kind of almost shows you what's next. What are the next steps? Should I be going to your about me page, your services page? What do you offer? Are there specific questions that I want answered? For myself, we decided to put like an FAQ little bit in there with some common questions, just so people have an idea of how to start. And then we're always leading people to contact, because sometimes people just want to reach out to you right away. And other times people want to read a lot more about you or what you do, if it's your blog, if you're putting a lot into your blog or not. So there's a lot of information on websites, but I find people just want to know what's important to them. What key bits can they get to quite easily. So navigation is key. Great pictures are helpful to see what your style is, if it suits them. I find there's so many components. So for me, working with a professional company was quite helpful in making sure we checked all the boxes.
Yeah, definitely. I see that with your website now too. It's so easy to navigate. It's like it's yeah, like there's no guessing, right? It really guides you through the whole process. Like yeah, if you want to find out more information, it's right there, but it's not like spammy or anything like that. It's like you can get to like the contact, or you can get to the FAQ. You can get to all those different sections easily, and it just feels like very streamlined. You can tell that a lot of thought has been put into that flow.
That's really good to hear, because that was a goal. So we
Yeah.
just want to make sure it wasn't overloaded with things where you just had to read too much or wonder where to go next. And so taking away some of the guesswork, um, I find that's kind of a bit of my ethos with wedding planning as well, just for guest experience or couple experience, like what's happening next, what are the next steps. It's not, I don't know, everyone feels supported, and the same can be said for the website. So I was really impressed how they were able to help me refine everything and make sure it really had a nice flow to it.
Yeah, I really love the idea of hiring a designer, because it's like, I'm not a designer, so I feel like, I have to do everything myself, but it's kind of like, what we're doing as professionals, we're saying, like I'm saying, you shouldn't film your own wedding because, you don't know what you're doing. And it's kind of the same thing with your website, right? Like I'm not a website designer. So, I mean, it makes sense for me to reach out to a professional.
Yeah, I totally believe in that too. I believe if you can financially afford it, of course, and if it is a priority for you, if you can hire a professional to do the things that's what they do, that's their focus, then that's such a benefit to you. And it takes a lot of the stress off, because I can see what I like. I know a lot of things that I like, but sometimes it's hard to piece that together, especially with the website, but also with the branding. So coming up with something that looks like it fits with Keepsake Events was they really nailed it with that one. So I was really happy.
In terms of the copy, did they help you with that as well, or was that a separate service?
That was separate. So I like it coming with my own words. It's just my personal preference. I'm sure they would have done an amazing job with that. So it's definitely something you can add on. Um, but I like it to make sure it really sounds like our values and what I want to put out there. And so the words coming from myself were important to me on that one.
Nice. Oh, so you wrote all of the copy yourself.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's
Yeah. So
amazing.
the big homework item that they gave me, but and yeah, it was a good experience in really thinking about things and how I wanted to be perceived on the website too.
Yeah, for sure. So, what would you say is the most important like element of your like online presence? Is it your website? Is it like where should people who like vendors who are trying to get into better design, getting a better online presence? Like where should they be directing their attention?
I think the website is always a good place to be because it's something that you can control and you own. Of course, SEO and everything else comes into play, but if people are trying to Google and find a wedding planner or other wedding professional or other business professional in general, I think your website is something that you do have control over. Versus, Instagram is great too, or social media, but you never know the longevity of that. So it's great to have some sort of portfolio presence on those platforms. But who knows, 5, 10 years, there's always something new coming out. So I feel like the website is a really good benchmark for how you present yourself. It's something that you're always going to refer back to. It's hopefully always in your like email taglines, so people can take a look and you can direct people for more information there. And it's a good reflection of what your brand is and what you stand for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what's going back to Instagram and other social networks? What's your feeling about like how vendors should be using those? Like, should vendors be spending more time on social, or should they be spending more time, I guess, creating blog posts, creating their own content on their own platforms?
So it could be a bit hypocritical for me to talk about it because I'm honestly not the best at social media. I try my best to keep up with it and have a certain number of postings, but I also like to say that I just try to keep the pressure off of not having to worry about it as much as I do sometimes because it can be a lot of pressure to be always online, always posting. I feel like people do need a break every now and then, especially these days and times where there's a lot of pressure from everything and business pressure and different things happening. So, as much as I do like to post on Instagram, it's mainly Instagram for me, to be honest. So, and then I link it to Facebook, which I don't know if that's cheating on social media, but not really providing new content, but just making sure it's accessible, I guess, to other people. Um, and then blog posting, I am quite behind on my blog posting, but I do think that in the future, or my goal is to keep up with my Instagram and social media and maybe relay that to something longer in a blog post. So for me, I do like to post content on social media that's some sort of a bit of educational component, if possible, or elaborating on certain subjects. And so I feel like those can be made into blog posts in the future. And just so it has some longevity. And then if Instagram or whatever social media platform is not around anymore, there's still something that lives on the internet, that lives on my website that I can still refer to or people can take a look. And SEO, it's always good for that too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's sort of my plan as well moving forward. I would like to have a system in place where I can sort of repurpose a larger concept into smaller concepts. So maybe I write a blog post, and then the blog post becomes the script for a video, and then that can go on YouTube, and then I can take little snippets from the video and I can make those like little Instagram shareable videos, things like that. And then you just kind of repurpose this one idea into many ideas. And then that way, it can live everywhere, but then it's also like long form on your website and you own that. You don't have to worry about it being deleted and losing all of your hard work.
Exactly. You never know. And why reinvent the wheel? If you already have it out there and you have this idea out there, then why not just use it in your other platforms to be able to share that and make sure it stays on there. So I think ideally that's what I would like to move towards a little bit more. I I don't know. Throughout this pandemic, I've had periods of supreme like productivity, and then other times where nothing's getting done. So the website and branding was a big win for me. But of course, just try to be kind to yourself and know that it's not always going to be getting everything done all the time and making big strides. So
For sure. Yeah, you gotta. It's one step at a time. Once you figure it out, you'll have a system and it'll be set, and you'll be able to kind of just go on autopilot. But yeah, getting to that point it's a challenge.
yeah, it can
Yeah,
be a little bit of
definitely.
work getting there.
Oh yeah. So what has been the reaction, the response to your new rebranding? Have people loved it? How do you? That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question, I guess, is how do you measure the success of the rebrand, the success of the website flow, and like how do you tweak it if needed, and like how do you go about that? How do you go through that process?
I guess it can be a little challenging. I mean, I've gotten a lot of really good feedback, but I don't think many people are going to give me negative feedback, I guess. But the response has been quite good. I have been getting inquiries. I think it's about qualified inquiries as well. So we are attracting what kind of weddings. In my particular case, it's weddings, of course, but what kind of weddings you're getting. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess from analytics, you can tell the traffic that's coming through. Hopefully, we can see it through SEO and things too, which I'm still getting used to. I'm using a different platform now, so just getting used to the different look of things. But yeah, just trying to see what comes back from it. I've been getting a lot of good response from vendors as well. So I think it's just easier to explain your business and share your business once you have something that really reflects your business. And so before I would be a little bit more like, oh, okay, go look at my website, but I don't love it, to be honest. In my
Right.
head, just I'm not in love with it, so I'm not that excited about it. It does still show what I do, but not at the quite refinement that my current one does, I think. And I think it's a much better reflection of what Keepsake Events is. So um, a little bit more proud of it now, and it's easy to direct people to the right information. Um, the branding and website agency also helped me put together a great flat sheet, so it looks very professional, and the information is really great to have there.
Oh, what's a flat sheet? I've never heard of that before.
Okay, well, that's the term I use, but I'm sure there's different words too. You can call it like investment package or service offerings.
Oh, right.
It's just like a document, PDF that you can share with clients to show the different service offerings you do, maybe even starting rates. I have some information on there also about how the process works. So how we communicate, what are the next steps if you're interested in booking consultation, what that looks like, and yeah, it just has a bunch of information, hopefully laid out quite cleanly. So new inquiries you can send it to yeah, just to get more information.
Right. So they've kind of created like an entire branding package for you. It's not just the website. It's not just. Did they do you like a business card as well? I think I saw that as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
they've
yeah,
done so like every element of your business that requires some kind of design element. They have been able to kind of create this complete package for you.
yeah. So I got to choose which elements that I wanted to include, and business cards. I know we're not in person as much right now, or at all really right now, but eventually I think they will really come in handy. I also have a note card, so I'm able to send that to clients or whoever, and it has my branding on it and in the colors, and it's all like debossed, and yeah, I love it. Um,
Beautiful.
it's just nice. It's a nice tie-in to the website and the branding. So I feel like, again, I always say I like cohesiveness and flow. I feel like all the pieces fit together really well and showcase the brand the way I want it to.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It definitely is just so much more important than people realize. I think like all of this. I think you'll find that you'll like in terms of like the analytics we were talking about, I think you'll find that people are spending longer on your website, that there's more click-throughs into the contacts, that you'll be getting more people getting in contact with you. And I think just the overall like feeling of your brand is going to be elevated, and that people are going to be willing to pay more for your service just because of you've tweaked the design of it a little bit more, and that's amazing. I think more people. I think we know that it's important, but I don't think we know how important it really is.
It's hard to prioritize these things, I think, when we're so busy with just everyday work and everyday life. And everyday expenses, of course. So I think it's hard to put the website and the branding sometimes at the forefront. It's been something in my mind that I wanted to do for so long. And with a little bit of different free time, I won't say it was all free time this year, but it was nice to be able to put some focus on that finally.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you definitely recommend it. I'm getting that.
It was a great process for me, and it was great for me to be able to look and see like who are my right fit clients and who am I trying to attract and what does my business stand for, because sometimes it gets really confusing and it's hard to know exactly when you're in it. It's hard to know to see the bigger picture and see what are you actually doing, what are your priorities. Yeah, we don't always take a look at our business because we're just so busy doing it. So it was a
Yeah,
nice
it's
step for me.
yeah, it's that difference between working on versus working in your business, right? It can be like, yeah, once you get going, it can be very hard to just kind of take a step back and kind of figure out what your priorities are. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was great for me.
Oh, awesome, Melanie. Is there anything else you would like to add about the rebranding process? Any kinds of advice you might have for people thinking about doing it? Anything like that?
No particular advice. I mean, I'm definitely not a branding expert. So this is just put it out there. This is my experience with it. And it was really good and helpful. I think it's good for you to do your research and see what your goals are financially and business goals, and really hunker down and take a look at that. Take a look at a lot of websites and see what you like about them, what you don't like about them. I look at so many. So it was it was good to see. It can be a little bit overwhelming. And so that's where I think professional help can come in to streamline things and make sure you're not losing focus. So that was a helpful piece for me. But every business, small business, large business, will have different goals and priorities. And so I think it's important just to, and it's kind of funny because I say this with all our wedding planning couples too, but sit down, write a list of what your top priorities are, what you're trying to achieve, whatever it is, and see how it fits in for you, or how you can do that.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today, Melanie. Could you please let everyone know where they can find more information about you online?
So my website is a great place for that. It's www.keepsakeevents.ca. And I think that's just the easiest to go to now that I have my new website and branding, and you can contact me there. Even if you're another small business and you're looking for some advice on where to start on branding, again, I'm not an expert, but I love talking about these things, or really any topic that I know a little bit about just from experience. And so I'm happy to connect with people there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melanie, for taking the time to chat with me today.
It was really nice. Thank you, Victor.